Nice of the princess to invite us over for a picnic, eh, Luigi?
I hope she made lots of spaghetti.
Luigi, look!
Alright guys, listen up. Papu moves so fast, you munch tracks. Hello everyone, welcome back to GameTalk, where we're talking about games, new and old. And today, Crash Team Racing. Crash fucking Team fucking Racing fucking. Or as I like to call it,
Booyah, Grandma! Booyah!
does this game really need an intro? Some call this the best Crash Bandicoot game ever made. Others call it the best kart racer ever made. And some will go out their way to call it the best game on the PS1. And the PS1 did have its fair share of classics. But to call this the best PS1 game ever made, it's a long shot, but maybe it is. This game still has a somewhat following to this day, and I can definitely see why. I've been playing this game for about a decade, on and off, and honestly, I haven't gotten bored of it, and nor do I see myself getting bored of it. And that just blows my mind. And what also blows my mind is the fact that this game could have very well never existed. As you all may know, Naughty Dog created the anthropomorphic bandicoot known as Crash Bandicoot. You also most likely know that in the late 90s, Crash Bandicoot was an enormous hit, and this marsupial became one of the inevitable mascots for Sony's big dog, the PlayStation. But Naughty Dog only had a 3-game contract with Universal Interactive. These games eventually ended up being Crash Bandicoot, Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back, and Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. While these 3 games became 3 of the most sold games on the PS1, the 3-game contract with Naughty Dog and Universal Interactive expired. Naughty Dog after this went on to create a generic racing game, but Sony Computer Entertainment demanded it to be a Crash title. It wasn't too long until Sony Computer Entertainment got the rights of Crash Bandicoot, and Crash Team Racing, originally known as Crash Bandicoot Racing or Crash Kart, began development. Wow, Crash Team Racing almost never existed, and I can't imagine my life without this ridiculously addictive game. And that sucks because this game makes me wet. Crash Team Racing was inevitably going to sell well because of the massive audience that the franchise already built, and to see Naughty Dog take the Mario route and expand their series into multiple genres instead of just platformers is a great thing. Speaking of Mario, this game had its fair share of competitors. Just to clarify, I completely understand that Crash Bandicoot is a rip-off of Mario. However, that doesn't make Crash bad. Crash Team Racing's main competitors in the kart racing genre were of course Mario Kart 64, which was an outstanding game, and Diddy Kong Racing. The PlayStation didn't have any big hit kart races before this though. After it came Looney Tunes Racing, Toy Story Racer, and Rascal Racer. Wait, why did that game come out years after the PS2 was released? Okay, it's time that we now get into this game and see if it still holds up today. And don't worry, I'll shrug all the bias and all the nostalgia I have towards this game when reviewing it. So let's get in.
Start your engines!
Oh my god, the nostalgia! Believe it or not, this game has a plot. I know, right? Let's have a look at this masterful and symbolic masterpiece of a story about a bandicoot in a go-kart. So an alien from the planet Gasmoxia, Nitrous Oxide, no, not that, he has come to planet Earth to treat the cast to the original Crash trilogy to a challenge. He likes to call it survival of the fastest, where basically whoever wins all the circuits faces Nitrous Oxide, and if they lose, Nitrous will turn their Earth into a parking lot. Yeah, you see the Earth? Yeah, you see it? Yep, boom! Parking lot. That's what it is now. Of course I won't judge the story of this game because who in their right mind would? Obviously it's fucking stupid, but it's a kart racer with this thing missing a few brain cells. Obviously that just gives some sort of setting for the adventure mode, which I'll get into eventually. Funny thing about this new villain, Nitrous Oxide, Naughty Dog wanted to kill off the Crash series by making a villain that everyone would hate. An alien. Jokes on Naughty Dog because most fans loved Nitrous Oxide, and he became a really recognizable villain in the Crash series. Okay, now let's get into the main attraction of this game, the arcade mode, and see what it does better than Mario Kart 64 and Diddy Kong Racing. Why the fuck is this game so good? This game is utter chaos. There is so much things happening all the time. So many power-ups that come and go as quick as my sex life, constant manual boosting and turbo pads all around the track, and the pure adrenaline pumping engines roaring as the race starts and the music begins. Even minute details such as different music they play when winning and losing a race. And the soundtrack, my god. It's a new take on the original trilogy style that is very fast paced and combines the tracks with the environment beautifully, with the environmental obstacles to obstruct you. Everything just works so well hand in hand. There are also so many tracks with so much different personality, and I've played this game so much that I know the ins and outs to all of them. You can also race in a cup tournament similar to the Grand Prix mode in Mario Kart. There are 4 cups, each with 4 tracks in them. First place will receive 9 points, second will get 6, third will get 3, and fourth will get 1. Whoever has the most points wins the cup and shows their unique victory animation at the podium. Some you might recognize from the original trilogy, such as the Crash Dance and Dial's victory dance. These controls are not clunky at all. Anyone today can pick up a controller and be able to play this game without any struggle because of how well the controls hold up. The carts are slightly slippy with a heaviness factor to them, making it feel real. These carts feel real. What this game does that made Mario Kart so successful is using the tracks with the settings from the original games, with the characters you know and love from the original games as well, villains and good characters. And certain mechanics such as hopping using R1 off a ramp or a high ledge will reward you with a boost upon landing, which is a mechanic still used in Mario Kart today. You can also use the power slide system, holding down R1 or L1 while turning to round corners quicker. But when power sliding, you'll notice a green bar increasing and turning red towards the end at the bottom right of the screen. This is actually the manual boosting system. When the bar turns red, using the opposite trigger will give you a small boost, and you'll be able to do this 3 times before you have to jump and power slide again to restart the boost. And you are heavily rewarded for this, and once you get the hang of it, you can boost your way throughout the whole track and through various shortcuts without interruptions. And that's something that I love. The best of this game are rewarded with the boosting system. The old Mario Karts lacked this, as the game changer would be the blue shell. But here, the power-ups you get are very useful, and some of them are more useful than others. But if you're a connoisseur, like me, you are immensely rewarded for being good at boosting. And the power-ups is a thing to just take into consideration. Shortcuts can consist of regular terrain cuts, jumps over drops, and complete other sections of the tracks, and combinations of the 3. Some shortcuts will be immensely harder to perform than others, once again rewarding those who can perform manual boosting, as the faster you're going, the better chance you'll have at completing the shortcut. Plus, making this shortcut on Sewer Speedway is more satisfying than using the chopper gunner's kill streak of Black Ops 1. A shortcut that I find really interesting though, is on the 3rd track, Tiger Temple. If you have a projectile power-up, you can send it towards this wall here and it will open up an area for a shortcut. And this shortcut, most people, including myself, have just found it on accident. What I find really interesting though, is the topic of illegal shortcuts. Illegal shortcuts, otherwise known as shortcuts that weren't intended to be in the game, unintentionally made this game a whole lot more fun. These shortcuts are extremely hard to do, even for experienced players, but the payoff can literally cut your lap time in half if done correctly. A lot of illegal shortcuts that you think might work, won't work however, because the track would recognize that you're not up to that part yet and reset your cart. However, under specific conditions, these shortcuts will work and will save you so much time and are really useful, especially in the time trial mode. That's another really good use of the boosting system, and manipulating that can really reward the player instead of just relying on power-ups. What this illegal shortcut system does, however, is just add an extra layer to the game. You think that you know the game in and out and know all the shortcuts at all the tracks? Well, try and complete these tracks in the time trials in a ridiculous amount of time by tricking the game. Obviously, I can't perform all of these illegal shortcuts because some are absolutely ridiculous, and how? How do you do that? I honestly can't recommend this video enough if you haven't seen it by... I am not pronouncing that. Where this guy shows you all the possible shortcuts you can do in CTR, legal and illegal. Link in the description. And some people have found ways to go even so far with these illegal shortcuts to get a lap time of under 5 seconds. What? Just what? And there is a reserve boost system known as Sapphire Fire and Ultimate Sacred Fire, which is a boost kept for a long period of time, as seen here. And that just adds an extra element for the experienced players. This can be hard to do, and I don't think works very well in the US version of the game, which I had to play because my PAL version wouldn't work on the emulator for whatever reason. This reserve boost system is really hard to explain, but there are videos out there that go and explain it well. Go and check them out because they're smart and I'm a fuckhead. I love the power-up system in this game, mainly because of how the Wumpa Fruit work. You'll find greater created crates throughout the tracks besides just the regular mystery crates that give you power-ups. These created crates will give you 5 to 8 Wumpa Fruit. Upon receiving 10, you will receive
maximum velocity!
Not really. Instead, you will upgrade all the power-ups you receive. Power-ups consist of bowling bombs, which is the green shell equivalent, that you can explode by hitting circle again. When upgraded, the blast radius is increased. Heat-seeking missiles, which are the red shell equivalents, but not as reliable as the red shell. Shields, which protects the player from being hit by power-ups or an environmental obstacle. When you get hit, the shield disappears. You could also use the shield as a projectile when pressing circle. It turns blue when it's upgraded, and it will not die out over time like the green one does. TNT, which you can send behind you. If you get hit by the TNT, you won't crash out yet, literally. If you jump enough times, you will get the TNT off of you. Nitro Crates will replace the TNT when upgraded, and if you touch the Nitro Crates at all, you crash and burn. Embryo beakers, wait, don't know why these were added into the game and Embryo wasn't. At least he was in Crash Bash. These are a simple obstruction that spin you out for a bit. Upgraded beakers will spin you out and slow your cart down for a brief period. Aku Aku / Uka Uka mask, which is the Mario Star equivalent. If you're good characters like Crash and Coco, you will get Aku Aku, and if you're villains like Dr. Cortex and Engine, you will get Uka Uka, which is a nice touch. Upgraded masks will last longer. One great thing about the mask is that each of them play their own theme song when using them, and it's for the first time that we get to hear a Uka Uka interpretation of the Aku Aku invincibility song. What have I got? Speed boosts, which speak for themselves, entropy clocks, which is the Mario lightning equivalent and will slow everyone down for a brief period, warp orbs, which is similar to the blue shell and will go past everyone and crash the person in first place. Upgrading it will hit everyone on the track, and battle mode exclusive power-ups like super engines and invisibility. All power-ups come and go really quickly and all very different from each other. By the way, did you know this game is amazing? Of course, different characters will have different stats, and I personally assign these characters into different tiers / classes. First we have Pola and Pura. These characters are in a C class and are easy to use for beginners. These cars feel a lot lighter and do not have a high speed. They're turning those through the roof, and if beginners of the game are finding it hard to race on the tracks with sharp turns, the C class characters are the way to go. Then we have the B class characters, Crash Bandicoot and Cortex. These characters both have moderate statistics with their top speed, acceleration, and turning are all the same. Then we have the B+ class, Coco Bandicoot and Engine. Both these characters have great acceleration, moderate speed, and slightly below average turning. Then the A class characters, Dingo Dial and Tiny Tiger. Both these characters have an immense top speed and extremely low turning, making these cars feel heavier. These are not recommended for beginners. Then we have the S class, which I'll talk about later. I love the diversity with these characters, and the fact that experienced players are rewarded when using the characters which have higher speeds and lower turning is great. Of course, that's not the whole roster. There are actually 15 playable characters in this game, which I'll explain how they're obtainable later. Alright, time to get into the adventure mode. Upon selecting adventure mode, you'll be able to choose one of the 8 characters you have unlocked from the start, showing the stats of each of them. The adventure mode has a hub world style system with various different locations. The 5 hub worlds consist of Insanity Beach, The Lost Ruins, Glacier Park, Citadel City, and Gemstone Valley. What I love about each of these areas is that their adventure mode theme song transitions over each area you go into, where it would remix the track depending on the setting of the area. Each of the main areas will have 4 tracks and the podium area. The hub world is an excellent place to practice your manual boosting and turning corners. You will do a race, and upon coming first, you would get 1 trophy and the next track will be unlocked. Upon completing all 4 tracks in the area, you will be greeted with the boss of the area, where they will talk to you in a cutscene. Each area has its own boss, and it's great to see the bosses from the previous games talk to you. So what's the dialogue like?
Papu want in action to lay boom down big and prove Papu is world's best driver.
That's racist.
Why, you call that racing? Forget about it. If you's gonna face Oxide, you's gonna have to get past me first.
Foist? Foist? Come on, I know you were trying to go for an Italian-American sort of thing, but foist? Really? This is the foist PlayStation. This is the foist Crash Bandicoot game. Hey look, Crash, you came foist. At least you don't hurt my ears like Komodo Joe.
I'll earn the right to face Oxide by crushing you into brick dust. Let's race.
Well, at least those bosses talked okay, I guess. At least you guys' dialogue wasn't the sound effects from Lady and the Tramp. I'm actually going to criticize this game for something now. Yeah, I know, right? It's the first real criticism I have for this game. It's the boss races. The concept of them are alright, and the fans of the original trilogy can only guess which boss can come next. But the races themselves are pretty pathetic. They're faster than normal and just exploit a power-up over and over again. Like, come on, Crash Bash made better boss battles than this, and Diddy Kong Racing's boss battles were infinitely better. There's not a lot of boss races, but they could have done better than this, and it's unfortunate because Crash 3's boss battles were some of the best boss battles on the PS1. The only other good thing I have to say about the boss races is the music for them, which you're listening to right now. Fortunately, there is a lot more things to do in adventure mode that overshadow these boss races. After you beat all the bosses in Oxide, he explains that you haven't received all the time relics, and until you do that and race him again, he won't leave Earth. He opens the complete other half of adventure mode, basically encouraging you to 100% complete the game. First, there are the relic races. This is basically the same as the time trials from Crash 3, where you can get the Sapphire, Gold, and Platinum relics by getting a really fast time when hitting the boxes with the number on it to stop that timer for that number of seconds. Getting all the boxes on the track will reward you with 10 seconds take you off your final time. Then there are the Ctr Tokens. When revisiting all the tracks, you can choose to do a Ctr race. These races require you to find the C, T, and R tokens throughout the whole track and come. You will then receive the token. There are also other warp things in the hub world which is now unlocked. These take you to the battle arena stages where you have to collect all the crystals in a short amount of time. These will also reward you with Ctr tokens. Getting all Ctr tokens will reward you in the 5 cup tournaments in Gemstone Valley. Each cup tournament you complete will unlock the bosses in arcade mode, but there are 4 bosses, not including Oxide, and there are 5 cup tournaments. The 5th cup tournament is where all the competitors are the bosses, and upon winning it, you unlock the big, the bad, the big boss of them all, Fake Crash. No, Nitrous Oxide isn't a playable character in this game. There is a secret character which could only be unlocked through a cheat code though, Penta Penguin, which we all know is infamous for having various glitches on the US version of CTR. First notable glitch is when getting a mask out of a crate. Uka Uka will show up, but when using it, Aku Aku appears. Another glitch is a very loved glitch. Some developers will put placeholder lines over the character's voice lines before the actual voice lines are put in. Just listen to this.
Penguin Ye 1. Penguin Ye 2.
For the love of God, Beanox, put this into nitro-fueled. Please, I am begging you. The last glitch is the stat glitch. On the US version, Penta has the same C-class stats as Polar and Pura, but on the PAL and Japanese versions of the game, Penta is on the S-class, which is what it's intended to be. Penta has max speed, acceleration, and turning, making it extremely hard to control for beginners. Nitrous Oxide is also part of this S-class and realistically can be played using a GameShark code or using a cheat engine on an emulator. He plays extremely glitchy though and will cause the game to crash after any race, and only works on these tracks presented on screen. Naughty Dog did test Oxide to try and be a playable character, but the PS1's amazing 2 megabytes of memory wasn't enough. That's why Oxide Station was wider due to the memory limitations. So after you get all the time relics, you are able to face Oxide again. When beating him, he leaves planet Earth to go back to Gazmoxia. The 100% completion credits show the characters what it went on to do after the events of the game, and you unlock the scrapbook feature showing you the development of the 4 Crash games, and this is a send-off that Naughty Dog wanted to show the Crash fans who supported this game. What a nice send-off to the last Crash game to be developed by Naughty Dog. You can really see the passion they put into their work, and this game just shows it. This game had an 8-month development period and turned out amazingly, especially because this was the first attempt at a racing game for Naughty Dog, and the inevitable downfall for Crash began. Some games of course were good, and others shouldn't exist. But Naughty Dog had a great run with the series, and this game doesn't end there. There's the time trial mode, which most of the hours in this game should be spent here. When getting a certain time on a track, you'll be able to face Dr. Entropy's ghost time. If you beat all of his times on each track, you unlock him. But wait, there's more. If you retry the time trials after beating Entropy, you verse the Oxide ghost times. And I must say, if you're gonna play CDR for the first time after watching this video, good fucking luck. You gotta know the ins and outs to every single track and be comfortable boosting throughout the whole track. And even then, you still might not even beat him. But that's no problem for me because I beat all of them! This game simply does not get boring. You can split screen, you can battle, you can complete all the time trials and cup tournaments. Honestly, I don't have a lot of criticism for this game. I guess the character models aren't up to par with the highly detailed character models of the trilogy. This was only done so the PlayStation would struggle on the split screen mode. And some characters like Crash and Cortex look alright, but some like Polar and Papu are really awful. Other from that and the boss races, there's not much to criticize here. Nevertheless though, CTR, Crash Team Racing, makes the good list and gets a 9 out of 10. And I did want it to be a 9.5, but I didn't want to push it. I didn't want to push it for one reason. Crash Team Racing nitro-fueled. This game can be improved on for sure, and it definitely holds up today, but let's all hope that Crash Team Racing nitro-fueled asserts its dominance in the kart racing genre. But after CTR with Naughty Dog out of the picture, what else can the third-party developers do to try and improve Crash? Stick around till next week, where we cover Crash Nitro Kart. If you're hearing this, thank you so much for sticking through this video to the end. Smash the like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe with those notifications turned on. Check out my Instagram if you like, and I will talk to you before you know it. See you later.